Hello, my friends. That's right, we are but a few days away from Backlash, which I think is actually being called Backlash France. And if you are in France, I hope you do have a good time. But it means we have to take our brains and try to predict what's going to happen on this show. And actually, it's kind of a weird one because obviously we're coming off WrestleMania. And the last few weeks of Raw and SmackDown have been fun, they've been entertaining, but they've also kind of been okay when it comes to that WWE draft. I'm still confused. It should have been called WWE Stay Where You Are. It's the worst joke I've ever made, and no, you shouldn't watch me anymore. And we should start with that SmackDown tag match, which is Randy Orton and Kevin Owens taking on the brand new Bloodline. If you have been watching Ups and Downs of What Culture, make sure you subscribe to them and subscribe to me if you are here. I love this team of Randy Orton and Kevin Owens. I don't know what it is about Randy, maybe it's his name being Randy, but whoever he does team with, somehow they just become an absolute delight. And of course, this comes off the back of WrestleMania, where they did a triple threat match, they did fight, and yet I still totally believe that they could still be buddies. I don't know how they've done that, but it's a couple of thumbs up. And of course, they are taking on Solo Sikoa and Tama Tonga, who has recently debuted in WWE. And in terms of taking the Bloodline story out of WrestleMania without Roman Reigns and having some fun with it, this is what I think the best thing WWE has done throughout all of April, because not only now does Solo come across like a psychopath, but we introduced Tama Tonga, and if you knew his New Japan character, you could probably assume this was somebody totally different. He comes across like an absolute serial killer. And let's not forget, he actually got on the crime counter because he got in his car and he smashed into Kevin Owens. Now look, I don't know about you, but I don't think you're allowed to do that. I'm pretty sure it's against the law. And that's why, even though they are going against two proper WWE megastars, surely they have to win. You cannot have Solo as the kind of brand new tribal chief, and you cannot have Tama Tonga as a brand new recruit and then them lose. Otherwise, you can just go, well, the Roman Reigns version was clearly better because you guys absolutely suck. Now, my only worry about this is that Randy Orton, I do not believe, has lost ever since he has come back from his return at Survivor Series 2023, which is perfectly fine because he is Randy Orton, but it kind of makes me think that Kevin Owens is just there to take the pin. He also took the pin at WrestleMania, he also took a pin in a lot of those tag team matches leading up to WrestleMania. I do not want KO to be pigeonholed into this sort of situation. Now, look, I don't think he cares, I think he's just having a good time, and he's one of these dudes that you can give any kind of creative to and he will make it work, but I'm still keeping my fingers crossed that within the next, say, 12 to 18 months, now that we do have two proper world champions, he gets another run, because obviously we remember what happened with the first one. But I also have this idea, especially now that Logan Paul seems to have separated himself from Randy Orton, that maybe we are going to do the big breakup between Randy and KO, and maybe that will be a SummerSlam match. But then once again, you start asking yourself, does that mean that Randy Orton will win that one too? And I don't know. But I think in terms of where we are when it comes to Backlash, you have to give it to the brand new Bloodline for all the reasons that we have just talked about. It would just be stupid. You have to establish them as a threat, and Paul Heyman has to be like, Roman Reigns, please come back to TV, because these guys may stab me right in the heart. And they may do. Once again, they're totally nuts. And we shall stick with the tag team division as well, because it is going to be the Kabuki Warriors taking on Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair. And let's just keep it nice and simple. We got to change the titles. Now, this is really unfair to Asuka and Kairi Sane, because they have done the best job that they possibly could do. But the women's tag team titles are just so bizarre when it comes to WWE. They weren't defended at WrestleMania. They are rarely talked about. They're never really featured in a feud. And every now and then, WWE comes out and goes, oh, we've made a terrible mistake with this. We promised to rectify it. And then they never rectify it. Like when they gave it to the Kabuki Warriors, it's like, well, this is awesome because they can have great matches with anybody. And yet mostly they were involved in 6-man tags with Damage Control, which again, I did not mind, but I just want to keep everything crossed that in 2024, one of our projects is to rehab these belts. Because if you go through every other championship, every single one seems to be headed on a better trajectory. Like the US title was the other one. I was like, well, I'm not so sure, but I think Logan Paul is doing a good job with it. But at least with the other belts, they've had some positivity within the last decade or so, whereas these ones, as everyone keeps saying, are totally cursed. I mean, ever since Sasha Banks and Naomi walked out of the WWE because of what we were doing with them, I don't think we have ever got it back, which is why I do believe we will change it here, especially because Jade Cargill is on the other team, much like Randy Orton. I don't think she's going to lose anytime soon. Now, I don't think it has to be a quick match. I think Bianca Belair can be whooped for a little while, and then you get the hot tag to Jade Cargill, and then Bianca and Jade can do some amazing double team moves and get the 1, 2, 3. And I also think they should beat the Kabuki Warriors clean. Like, why wouldn't they do that? They are the good guys. But I don't think you need any shenanigans here because, again, then Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair can come out on SmackDown and say, oh my gosh, we are the new champions. We won them fair and square. Somebody, please come out and challenge us And then let's start creating a feud. Let's start creating a story. Because again, even this is sort of just like, well, Bianca fell out with Damage Control and then she found a friend in Jade. Like, it's okay, but we can get so much better into this, especially because I believe the long-term plan is that we get to WrestleMania 41 and it will be Bianca Belair versus Jade Cargill. This is one of the first tag teams in years they actually want to break up. Usually WWE pushes two people together because they're desperate to split them up. But with this, I think that would be an amazing match. And obviously it means that for the next 10, 11 months, you have Jade working with Bianca Belair, who is absolutely tremendous. And I love what Cargill does. I'm happy for her to get in there and have a 5-minute match and just whip everybody's ass. But if WWE is trying to evolve her, I suppose, into a different kind of wrestler, you're going to learn, right? And you're going to get really good experience working with the likes of Asuka, Kairi Sane, and Bianca Belair. But this, to me, is another obvious one. If you don't give it to Jade and you don't give it to Bianca, I think you've kind of made a mistake. But let's not forget what we've got with Damage Control. And maybe that's why we shifted them to Monday Night Raw as well, because they are about to tell a little bit of a different story. But Jade Cargill will probably get the pin. I would imagine after hitting Jaded on Kairi Sane, let's get super specific with this, then most, if I do get it right, I could be super, super arrogant, but obviously not because it's just predicting wrestling. I mean, really, I should regret the choices I've made with my life. We also have a Women's World Championship match on the line, which is Bayley versus Tiffany Stratton versus Naomi. And I kind of feel here, the only reason we have added Tiffany Stratton is because we do want to make her a mega star, which I totally agree with. Whereas Naomi, she has come back, and this is the first proper storyline she has been involved in. But damn it, I do believe that she is taking the pin. Because in no world do I think we should take the belt off Bayley. Like, I think there are some champions that you probably could have some fun with, but not in the women's division. Like, I understand that Rhea Ripley held the belt for ages, and so did Io Sky. But WWE didn't really make a massive deal about that. It was the Roman Championship, and it was the Intercontinental Championship, but they were like, oh my gosh, there's so many days. So even though a hot potatoing of one title would be good, it should not be Bayley's, especially because she has deserved a WrestleMania moment for around about 5 years, and she only just got it. At the same time, WWE clearly wants to make a big deal out of Tiffany Stratton, as do I. I totally believe that, again, within a year's time, she could be not a WrestleMania main eventer, but on her way to that, because I just keep thinking about the match with Rhea Ripley, because they're the polar opposite of each other. And if you allow them to lean into their personalities and then just yell at the other one, I think it could be absolutely terrific. And when it comes to Naomi, like, she's friends with Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair. We saw that at WrestleMania. And she's also friends with Bayley, which is one of the reasons why Tiffany Stratton did this match to begin with, because Naomi tried to hate Bayley. But otherwise, I can't see her winning the championship, which I do think is a shame, because I think she has the talent to do so, especially if you watched her TNA run. I thought she was really good. But if you had Tiffany Stratton lose, that would be dumb. And if you had Bayley lose, that would be dumb. But there has to be a reason we've made this a triple threat match. Like, well, it stands to reason, right? Clearly they wanted to do Bayley versus Tiffany Stratton, so she does go right to the top of the card. And then they went, well, we can't have Bayley lose, and we can't have Tiffany time lose. So that's why Naomi is there. And I do not want Naomi to fall back into that position, because once again, I think the stronger your women division is, maybe 6 to 8 months down the line, all of a sudden she could be a contender again. I don't think it'd be a very, very good match. I thought Bayley versus Io Sky at WrestleMania was one of the highlights of the weekend. And again, give Naomi time, she knows what she's doing. And ever since Tiffany Stratton has been called up, I think it took her like a couple of weeks before she was like, man, I know what I'm doing. And once again, does she need more experience? Of course she does. But the only way to get experience is to throw people right into the deep end. I mean, I think it was Triple H years ago said that. Like, the first time you win a world championship, you always get the big question, is this person ready? Well, no one is ready. And sometimes you need to have that first run before you actually work out what you're doing. And I think it's the same with Tiffany Stratton here. However, she will not lose, Bayley will not lose, and Naomi will take the pin. But there will absolutely be some shenanigans here, in the sense that Naomi's probably about to win, and then she gets hit with something else, and then Bayley just goes and pins one of them. I mean, you could do the thing where Tiffany Stratton actually pins Naomi after Bayley gets screwed, but I just think it's too soon, right? We had this big song and dance, this big pageantry for Bayley's entrance. We made a big hoo-ha about the fact that she was finally going to have her WrestleMania moment. And if you take that away from her so soon, I think you're doing a disservice to that match and how good it was. You're doing a disservice to Bayley, and you're doing a disservice to the fans. So I shall keep my fingers crossed that this is just entertaining and good and fun, and that we somehow come up with a way to protect Naomi, because again, she can be an absolute superstar going forward. Just a little bit worried, use that word again, that WWE is going to pigeonhole her, much like Kevin Owens. But Bayley absolutely will win. Basically means when you do wrap up Backlash into one little package, we are only getting one title change, and we've already talked about it. Because of course we're also going to see Jey Uso versus Damian Priest for the World Heavyweight Championship, and all I need to tell you is that Jey Uso got that big win on Raw, which usually 9 times out of 10 means he's losing at the pay-per-view premium live event. And that is perfectly fine too, because I think Damian Priest actually finds himself in the same position as a Bayley would do. It's kind of interesting, because I'm really happy that Raw has done this. We're trying to build new stars. We've thrown Damian Priest into the main event, and we've thrown Jey Uso into the main event, but I'll be the first to admit, and I'm Mr. Positive Pete, everything they've done has been fine, but I don't ever think they hit a home run. And I think right now, when you are trying to establish these brand new people at the top of the card, especially with Cody Rhodes going over to SmackDown, every single person that gets given the opportunity needs to stomp their foot down. And really, the proper main eventers, not the proper main eventers, but the people that are coming across like main eventers right now on Monday nights are CM Punk and Drew McIntyre, and neither of them are able to have a match because CM Punk is still recovering from his tricep injury, whereas Drew McIntyre has a bad elbow. Now, this does lack jeopardy, because again, I don't think Jey Uso is going to win here. Again, it wouldn't make any sense. Why have Damian Priest cash in at WrestleMania and then have him lose a few weeks later when you could hold this off to Clash at the Castle in Scotland and have Drew McIntyre get his revenge? So what they really need to do here is they need to come flying out the gates and basically have a tremendous match that makes people go, wow, these two are super duper cool. Even more so because, yes, if we go back to WrestleMania Night 1, not only were a lot of fans disappointed by Uso versus Uso, but even Jey Uso came out and said, well, yes, I was kind of disappointed too. Now, he put it down to the fact that maybe the card had been shuffled around and maybe they had their time cut, but a disappointment is still a disappointment, and do not forget, within the world of wrestling, you are only as good as your last match. Now, this isn't going to go on last. It may not even be the semi-main event. It may even go on first, but there is a huge positive to that, which is the French fans will be going absolutely crazy. We've seen that time and time again with international audiences when it does come to these kind of shows. So if they can tap into that and they can leave everyone with the good feelings in their tum-tums, I then think when Raw rolls around a couple of days after that, they can both take advantage of it and make sure they've got momentum, especially Jey Uso, because what did we tease a few days ago? He may be the guy at SummerSlam to take Logan Paul's title from him, the US Championship, in Logan Paul's hometown at SummerSlam. And if we do that and we build it right, I think finally we can sort of cement Jey in that position. And I think Damian Priest will be fine. I don't want to call him a transitional champion, but if we can get out the other side of this and then get properly into the Drew McIntyre stuff, even more so, because I think Damian Priest will be kicked out of the Judgment Day or leave and tell them to flub off. There are stuff that we can do here that's going to make it feel super duper fun. So I am going to go for Damian Priest. I think essentially he'll just hit the South of Heaven chokeslam and get the 1, 2, 3. Although now I've said that, if you could get Logan Paul over to France, that would be a way to do it. And Damian Priest is really, on paper, still a heel right now, so it wouldn't actually come across like, how dare you do that? So look, I like making bold predictions, and you can come yell at me if I am wrong. Logan Paul will go to France, go all of that way, and he will screw over Jey Uso, which sets up their program, and Damian Priest will win. And because he was buddy-buddy with Logan Paul on Raw, he'll just go shrug emoji, at least I'm still the champ. And it will be the same for Cody Rhodes versus AJ Styles. Now look, I saw a thread the other day, I think it was on Reddit, with someone saying, why are people so excited about this? Because everyone has to have the same opinion apparently, so if I don't like something, you shouldn't like it either. But I can't wait for this match, because I've always wanted to see Cody Rhodes versus AJ Styles. And really now, looking at it in hindsight, if you told me the first time they were going to clash on a big stage was going to be for the WWE title, I'd be like, yeah, brah, I will take it. The thing is though, AJ Styles has no chance in hell. If AJ Styles wins this match and becomes the world champion, I don't mean no stupid DQ, I will let my hair grow in. Now you may be thinking, Simon, that means you have to do literally nothing. When you see it, you will understand I look absolutely ridiculous when my hair grows in, because of course it has massive gaps in it. If you haven't realized, I'm bald. So I think once again, the major thing we need to do here is just to make sure they have a good match, because this was always going to happen, because the internet is a crazy pit of doom. People are going, oh, Cody Rhodes has been a terrible champion, even though he's been champion for about 2.5 days. I think he's been perfectly fine. Again, coming out of WrestleMania, WWE always dips. There's always a little bit of a lull. So all he can do right now is what he has been doing. And I just like him, and I think he's endearing. I just want to see him do well, which is why I think it's really smart to have him go against somebody like AJ Styles, because I bet on SmackDown, which obviously is going to be happening on Friday night, AJ will turn up the heel dial a little bit and probably go after Cody and injure his shoulder or something, which does tie into something we saw last week when him and Carmelo Hayes went for those double springboards. And yeah, they totally missed, which has become a meme online. Of course it has. And Cody fell on his shoulder. Still not entirely sure what this was. I presume we were going to get to Raw and people go like, oh my gosh, Cody is injured. And it would have been a work injury, so AJ could focus on that too. Still not 100% sure we're not going to do that. And I think if you do want to add just a little wrinkle into this idea, well, Cody may potentially be defeated. You can do it, but he's not. Here's the thing. It will go on last, as it should do. Cody will get a hero's welcome. AJ Styles will be mega over, because don't forget, he is one of the best wrestlers ever. If they then go out there and create the magic that I think they're capable of, it will leave you once again with a good feeling in your tootsie toes. And I do admit it's over here. There's 5 matches on this show, which is not a lot. So I think every single one does have to deliver a little bit more than maybe they would have to otherwise, with Cody versus AJ being right on the top. But Styles probably sees this as one of the last big main events he's going to have, because if you watch his Twitch streams, he has said, listen man, things are hurting more, and I know that retirement is just around the corner. And given that it is Cody's first title defense, he knows he needs to hit it out of the park as well. I compare this to when, this is a weird one, but when Steve Austin won the title at WrestleMania 14, his first challenger at the next show, which was Over the Edge, I think, or back, I can't remember, but it was Dude Love, right? Or Cactus Jack, or Mankind, or Mick Foley, whatever you want to call it. And the reason that we put Dude Love in that position is because Mick Foley was such a good brawler, and because we were now going to sort of change our main events to the way that Stone Cold Steve Austin liked to work. Everyone was like, well, Steve and Mick have great chemistry, and they could tell the fans this is what we're doing now. And Cody isn't as over as Stone Cold, but it is headed in that direction. People go crazy for this guy, so he could actually stamp his own version of what a main event should be following his WrestleMania win. And of course, AJ Styles is a great person to do that with. AJ Styles could have a 5-star match with me, and it would be absolutely nothing to do with me. It'd all be because of AJ Styles. Well, a lot of Backlash does actually lack that word jeopardy again, because you kind of can figure out which direction the championships are going in. I think that every single person does have something to prove on here, including Cody Rhodes. He wants to be able to wave that flag and say, I can be Mr. WWE. And I do believe he said in an interview recently that he wants to be the most profitable champion ever, or he wants to make the most money for the company, or something like that. And with inflation, he may be able to do it, but I don't want to talk about business metrics. But of course, Cody will win. I don't think you need any nonsense here either. I'm not even sure who would run in to stop this. There isn't any outside interference, but they just need to have a good match. Even I will hold up my hands, and I would admit it. But look, given it is on a weird time, I'm in America right now, hence why I'm in a hotel room. I think we get to watch it at 12 p.m. I am all good for getting up on a Saturday, and I don't know, I'll go to the gym, I'll go for a run, and then come back and watch some Backlash from France. Sounds good. Cody wins. Now, the most important part of all of this is that you need to go to the comments and let me know who you think are going to win. If you agree with me, that would be awesome too. Like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Make sure you go to grillofmine.com/Simon. Use code Simon to get money off. These are the supplements that I am using, hopefully staying in shape while I am in the USA. Click the video on the screen as well. I always appreciate that, because YouTube loves interaction. Otherwise, it's patreon.com/Simon316. Simon316 on Instagram and Twitter. Simon J. Miller on TikTok. Simon on Cameo. I'm doing a lot of those at the moment because I do have a lot of time on my hands. Otherwise, it's Pro Wrestling Tees and Sans and Athletics for merchandise. And of course, if you are on the East Coast of America for the next 3 weeks, come and see me in the last match. We've done a few shows now, and I will tell you, I'm very proud of this. It's very fun, it's very silly, it's very stupid, which you may know is right up my alley. And if you have come out, and I have shaken a lot of people's hands and said hello and thank you very much, I really do appreciate it. I look forward to seeing you more down the road, as they say in wrestling. Take care, I'll see you then.